Texas is the second largest state in America. It has deserts. It has swamps. It has 600 miles of Gulf coastline, 267,000 square miles of ranch land, dense hardwood forests in the east, and some of the most rugged, remote terrain in the continental United States in the west. Its climate ranges from subtropical in the south to near alpine in the Guadalupe Mountains, and virtually every one of those environments contains at least one animal capable of sending a person to the emergency room. Most Texans know this. They grow up knowing which rocks not to reach under, which water not to wade into after dark, and which sounds mean something dangerous is close enough to matter. This is what they know, and why they know it. Number 1. The Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. If there is one animal in Texas that every single resident has been warned about, in childhood, by someone who meant it, it is the Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. It is the most widely distributed venomous snake in the state, found across every region of Texas from the Gulf Coast to the Chihuahuan Desert, and it accounts for more venomous snake bites in the American Southwest than any other rattlesnake species. The CDC estimates 7,000 to 8,000 venomous snake bites occur in the United States annually, with rattlesnakes responsible for the majority. And in Texas, the Western Diamondback is the most commonly encountered snake behind almost all of them. The venom is hemotoxic, meaning it destroys blood cells and tissue rather than attacking the nervous system. Left untreated, a serious bite causes hemorrhaging, severe tissue necrosis, and in documented cases, the loss of fingers, hands, or feet where the bite occurred, not from the initial strike, but from the tissue destruction that follows over hours and days. What makes the Western Diamondback specifically dangerous is not its venom alone, but its temperament. It does not retreat reliably when approached. It holds its ground, coils, and rattles, which sounds like a warning, and is, but only if you hear it before you're already close enough to be within strike range. Plenty of bites happen because the rattle comes a fraction of a second too late, or not at all. Every Texan who spends time outdoors has a story. Most of them are close calls. Some are not. Number 2. The American alligator. East Texas has alligators. A lot of them. The American alligator population in Texas is estimated at roughly 400,000 to 500,000 animals, concentrated in the bayous, swamps, rivers, and coastal marshes of the eastern third of the state. They can grow up to 14 feet and weigh over 450 kilograms, and they are, as residents of Orange, Beaumont, and the communities around the Texas Gulf Coast wetlands are well aware, present in water that looks from the bank like ordinary lake water or a slow, harmless river. In 2015, the first fatal alligator attack in Texas since 1836 occurred in Orange County when a man jumped into a bayou at night and was killed by a 12-foot alligator. The incident was notable specifically because it broke a nearly 180-year gap in the fatality record, not because alligators had become more dangerous, but because expanding development had compressed the space between human activity and alligator habitat to a point where serious encounters became statistically inevitable. The danger specific to alligators is the same one that makes saltwater crocodiles so lethal in other parts of the world. They are almost entirely invisible from the surface. At night, park rangers in alligator country use flashlights specifically because alligator eyes reflect light, the only reliable way to detect them in dark water before you're already in it. Local Texans in the eastern wetlands do not swim in still water after dark. They teach their children not to. And they know, when they see a calm, dark bayou at night, that calm does not mean empty. Number 3. The timber rattlesnake. While the Western Diamondback gets most of the attention, Experienced Texans in the piney woods of East Texas regard the timber rattlesnake, also called the canebrake rattler in the region, with a specific, different kind of caution. The timber rattlesnake carries a double venom profile that most other rattlesnakes don't, a neurotoxic component that attacks the nervous system and paralyzes the victim, and a hemotoxic component that simultaneously destroys tissue. That combination makes the timber rattlesnake bite, in documented medical cases, significantly harder to treat than a standard rattlesnake envenomation, because the anti-venom protocol for hemotoxic venom and the protocol for neurotoxic venom are not identical, and a treating physician dealing with both simultaneously faces a more complex clinical picture. East Texas locals who spend time in the dense forest understory where timber rattlesnakes live, often in leaf litter, at the base of large trees, or in the canebrake thickets their nickname comes from, describe them as significantly harder to detect than the diamondback, because they rely more heavily on staying still and blending in rather than rattling and retreating. You hear the western diamondback. You step on the timber rattler. Number 4. The black widow spider. Every Texan who has ever reached behind a stack of firewood, into a garage corner, under a porch rail, or into an outdoor storage box without looking first has potentially encountered a black widow spider without knowing it. The female black widow, the dangerous one since the male is harmless, is found across the entire state, preferring exactly the dark, sheltered spaces humans use for storage and rarely inspect closely. The venom is neurotoxic and weight for weight, significantly more potent than a rattlesnake's, though the small quantity delivered in a single bite means death in healthy adults is rare with modern treatment. What makes the black widow genuinely dangerous in Texas is the combination of its abundance and its habitat preference. It is not a wilderness animal. It lives in garages, sheds, wood piles, outdoor furniture, and the undersides of structures across every part of the state. The Texan most likely to encounter a black widow is not a hiker in remote terrain. It's someone reaching into the corner of their own backyard shed on a Saturday afternoon. The venom can cause severe muscle cramps, nausea, and intense pain, and the female, notably, eats the male after mating. Number 5. The brown recluse spider. The brown recluse occupies the same indoor hidden space habitat as the black widow, but adds a layer of danger that makes experienced Texans specifically paranoid about it. The bite is frequently painless at the moment it occurs. You may not know you've been bitten until hours later, when redness and swelling develop around the site. In the worst documented cases, which are uncommon but real and verified, the brown recluse's venom causes necrotic tissue damage, producing what trauma physicians describe as a volcano lesion, a wound that craters inward as surrounding tissue dies, sometimes expanding over days or weeks, requiring surgical removal and leaving permanent scarring. The brown recluse spider hides in dark basements, garages, and between scattered clothes. Experienced Texans shake out their boots before putting them on every morning. They check clothing that has been sitting on the floor. They do not reach into dark spaces without looking. These are not paranoid habits. They are the reasonable behavioral adjustments of people who live in a state where the brown recluse is genuinely common and genuinely capable of causing serious harm from inside your own house. Number 6. The fire ant. Fire ants in Texas are not simply a nuisance. They are an invasive ecological force that has reshaped the state's outdoor landscape and produced a specific, recurring, well-documented medical risk that goes well beyond an ordinary insect sting. Red imported fire ants, introduced accidentally in the 1930s, now infest an estimated 90% of Texas counties. A disturbed fire ant mound does not produce one or two defensive stings. It produces hundreds or thousands simultaneously from workers that swarm onto whatever has disturbed the colony in the first seconds after the alarm is raised. The venom causes burning pustules at each sting site, and in people with severe allergies, even a small number of stings can trigger anaphylaxis, a systemic allergic reaction capable of causing death without immediate treatment. The specific Texas scenario that recurs in emergency room and wildlife management records involves someone accidentally stepping into or sitting near a fire ant mound without noticing it, often in tall grass, around outdoor equipment, or near fence lines, and being stung dozens or hundreds of times before realizing what has happened. After Hurricane Harvey, viral videos revealed giant flotillas of invasive fire ants forming teeming mats of up to 100,000 ants looking for dry ground. A reminder that in flood conditions, fire ants don't drown. They float. And they land somewhere. Number 7. The cottonmouth. The cottonmouth, also called the water moccasin, is the only venomous water snake in North America, and in Texas it is found across essentially any aquatic environment in the eastern half of the state: rivers, lakes, swamps, drainage ditches, and flooded fields. What makes the cottonmouth specifically dangerous compared to many other venomous snakes is its behavior when threatened. Unlike most snakes that retreat when a human approaches, cottonmouths frequently hold their position and display, opening the mouth wide to reveal the white interior that gives the snake its name, before striking if the threat continues. They are also documented to be more aggressive than most Texas snakes under provocation, and experienced Texans wade fishing in cottonmouth territory describe a healthy, consistent alertness that never fully relaxes. The cottonmouth's venom is a hemotoxin that prevents blood from clotting and can cause hemorrhaging, temporary or permanent tissue damage, and possibly the loss of extremities depending on where the bite is located. Number 8. The feral hog. Texas has an estimated 2.5 million feral hogs, the largest population of any state in the country, and they represent a danger that is both genuinely physical and genuinely underestimated by people who picture a pig and assume they understand the risk. Feral hogs in Texas can weigh over 180 kilograms, move at speeds exceeding 48 kilometers per hour, and carry tusks capable of producing deep lacerations in a charge. They are not domesticated animals gone slightly wild. They are several generations removed from domestication entirely, with behavioral profiles closer to wild boar than to farm pigs, including territorial aggression around sows with piglets and aggressive defensive responses when cornered. A woman in Anahuac, Texas, east of Houston, was found dead outside a home with multiple injuries caused by a pack of wild hogs, a case that wildlife officials described as unusual but documented, and that reflects the specific risk profile of encountering a group of feral hogs in dense brush at night. Texas ranchers, hunters, and rural landowners treat feral hogs as a serious hazard. They are not wrong. Number 9. The copperhead. The copperhead is the most common cause of venomous snakebite in many parts of Texas, not because it is the most aggressive snake in the state, but because it lives so close to where people actually are. Unlike the western diamondback, which is primarily a species of open, rugged terrain, the copperhead thrives in the suburban-adjacent woodland edges, creek banks, brush piles, and leaf litter that surround Texas cities and subdivisions. It is found near hiking trails in the hill country, in the wooded backyards of Dallas suburbs, and along creek drainages in Houston, areas where people walk regularly, often without looking carefully at the ground. There are 3 different types of copperheads found in Texas: the broadband copperhead, and the southern copperhead cover a large area of the state, while the Trans-Pecos copperhead is found around the Big Bend area. The patterned banded body provides excellent camouflage against leaf litter, making visual detection genuinely difficult in the habitats where the snake is most common. The bite is rarely fatal in healthy adults with prompt treatment, but copperheads account for more actual bites than any other venomous snake in many Texas counties, specifically because they are everywhere the people are. Number 10. The kissing bug. The kissing bug, Triatoma, is not the most immediately dramatic animal on this list. It is, by some measures, the most insidious. Found across Texas in woodpiles, animal dens, and the cracks and gaps of rural structures, the kissing bug feeds on blood at night, typically biting the sleeping host near the mouth or eyes, which is where the name comes from, and where the danger begins. Kissing bugs are the primary vector for Chagas disease, a parasitic infection caused by Trypanosoma cruzi that, in its acute phase, produces flu-like symptoms that most people dismiss, and in its chronic phase, developing silently over years or decades, can cause serious cardiac and digestive complications. The kissing bug is a creature that should be avoided. Its bite can transmit Chagas disease, which can be fatal if left untreated. The CDC estimates that approximately 300,000 people in the United States are currently living with Chagas disease, many of them unaware, because the acute symptoms are mild enough to go unnoticed, and the chronic damage accumulates invisibly over years. This is not a dramatic, sudden danger. It is the kind that takes decades to show itself, and it is doing exactly that, right now, in Texas. Number 11. The Lone Star Tick. The Lone Star Tick is the animal on this list most likely to affect someone who has never left their own suburban backyard, and it carries something genuinely strange inside it. The Lone Star Tick is one of the most dangerous animals in Texas. Its deadly power comes from two main characteristics: an insidious, easily overlooked mode of attack, and an infectious, disease-carrying disposition. It transmits multiple diseases, including ehrlichiosis, tularemia, and STARZ. But its most unusual documented effect is the development, in some bite victims, of alpha-gal syndrome, a genuine, lasting allergy to red meat triggered by a protein in the tick's saliva. People who develop alpha-gal syndrome after a Lone Star tick bite find themselves unable to eat beef, pork, or lamb without experiencing allergic reactions, reactions that can range from hives and gastrointestinal distress to anaphylaxis. The allergy can persist for years. There is no reliable treatment except complete avoidance of mammalian meat products. The Lone Star tick is found across the entire state of Texas in tall grass, brush, woodland edges, and hiking trails. It is small enough that a bite is frequently missed entirely until the itching begins hours later. It does not need to be in the wilderness to find you. It needs to be in your yard. Texas has 268,000 square miles of terrain and a wildlife profile that reflects every climate zone it contains. From the subtropical Gulf Coast to the high desert of the Trans-Pecos, from the dense piney woods of the east to the brush country of the south. Almost every one of those environments contains something on this list. The Texans who live alongside these animals are not fearful people. They are careful people, which is a different thing entirely. They check their boots. They watch where they step. They stay out of dark water after sunset. They look before they reach. That caution is not paranoia. It is the accumulated wisdom of people who share a state with 11 animals that have given them very good reasons to pay attention,